T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Fuck you, Westport!
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on your Saturday afternoon. I almost for a second thought I played the wrong video there. I'm like, is this the right one? It turned out to be the right one. So yeah, guys, again, thank you for joining. Super special guest, special episode today. CJ, dude, welcome aboard, man. How you doing?
Hey, thanks, Chad. I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to engage the community here. And you say special guest, I feel special for being on here because that's usually the other side of the lens I'm watching these shows on. So being able to hang with Chad Westport's kind of an honor to myself. So thank you, sir.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. The honor is all mine. I am excited to learn more about you. I'm also excited to learn more about the Balanced Veterans Network. And that is kind of what we're here to talk about today. I met Terry at the Dude Grows Cup. I think it was in June of this year, and struck up a great conversation, told me a little bit about the group, but maybe just, and we'll get into it a little bit deeper, but just kind of like in a nutshell, can you tell people who may not be familiar with BVN kind of what you guys are about?
Yeah, so we're a 501c3 nonprofit that's main mission is to help veterans access alternative modalities of healing, and we do that through 5 pillars. We have Operation 1620. That's the one we're really proud of, and that's why we're here today. That's the use of cannabis as medicine. And to facilitate and help with that, we provide medical card referrals in 32 states, DC and Puerto Rico, reimburse state fees, do educational classes, build the community around that. Beyond that, we have Project Triangle, and that's where we support the use of psychedelic-assisted therapies. Everything from MDMA to ketamine-assisted therapy to psilocybin mushroom to the ibogaine to ayahuasca retreats. Anything that's outside that normal toolbox that we're given at the VA, we want to help veterans get educated and support them and have those conversations about how these medicines have helped other veterans. We have a mental wellness pillar, and in that realm, it's exactly kind of what you think: breath work, meditation, anything to just help keep your zen and just regulate your life. And then we have a movement pillar. We like to focus on what we like. We do disc golf events because that's kind of what we're into. We do some yoga and movement actions and just remind veterans to get back out and keep moving because it is very important for your mental health. Hey, there you go. You got one.
Disc golf. Yeah, I saw this at the Dude Grows Cup. I'm like, I must get one.
and how do we tie those 4 in together? With community? Because really, that's what we all need to heal. And that's what the plant medicine opened me up to. A long time ago when cannabis touched me for the first time. It was the community that brought us together. And I look at cannabis kind of like food. What else brings people together and opens their conversation and makes them feel good and brings them together? Cannabis. It's not a drug. It's a tool for the community. And if you set the right intentions and move forward like that, there's a lot of healing to be done with that. And I think most of us old heads have known that all along, but now we're really starting to see the light into it. And we're getting science, and we're getting doctors, and people are coming out of the closets and sharing their experience. And that's kind of where I'm from. I longtime cannabis user and grower and a veteran. And I'm able to now with this group connect and bring that, what we're called the counterculture and the outlaw stuff. Well, it's not an outlaw anymore. We're able to share it with these guys that were out, 2 decades plus of war we've been through. And in those 2 decades, I was at home because I got hurt before the war and sent on my own journey, but really able to help these guys connect who went right from high school, a lot of them, and went and fought 2 decades of war. Think about that. And they were told this is bad and this is bad. They're government brainwashed. I mean, really, that's part of being in the military is you're brainwashed into that modality. And you get out and you don't think that might be right for you. And we're here to really share our experiences. And now it's really nice because it's getting traction. Our voices are being heard, and our brothers and sisters are coming home and knowing that there is something else out there for them outside pharmaceuticals. And that's really what we're trying to do.
And that's a very, very needed conversation and educational piece, because that typically is the solution is pharmaceuticals. And that doesn't even necessarily accompany like the mental health aspects or the training, like you said, meditation, breathing, things that don't include chemicals that we can do to try to get moments past. But I really do like that you mentioned, the word tools too, because some people may think, oh, great, give veterans a whole bunch of acid and go have fun, have a little rave party, right? It goes beyond that. Can you maybe explain how, like, some of the things are being used as tools, or maybe some of the training or guidance that would go along to it, so somebody's not just like, oh, they said do this and then set me free?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, let's just start with the psychedelics and psilocybin mushrooms right now, because that's a conversation that's all over on the news. We're hearing terms like breakthrough medicines, and they are. But what they're not telling you is how to integrate those medicines. So, right. Yeah, it's great. You can go take these psychedelics and have a profound experience. If that didn't happen to people, we wouldn't be here today. It opened people's minds. But how do you use that to heal? It really takes the community. It takes peer support and therapy and guidance after these experiences, and sometimes even through these experiences. So that's the whole goal, is trying to connect people with those experiences. And for those veterans who have went out and found themselves at, a psychedelic chocolate bar or something like that, because it's becoming available in a lot of states. In California, I think Washington and like Oregon are really open markets, and they're allowing people to heal in this manner, but you're not really given instructions. And it's kind of the same with cannabis. You're given a prescription, but you're really not taught how to use it mindfully, how to set intentions, and how to integrate that afterwards. Because the experience you're going to have with psychedelics in particular is going to take some work. It can be actually a lot of work. It can be a lot of heavy lifting, and it can go into places where you didn't even think that's where the traumatic experience was. A lot more of it comes from other things that you don't think is there, but you kind of have to peel the layers of the onion back. And that's really what these treatments do. And what we're aiming to do as a nonprofit is kind of be that long-term integration facility and the post 9/11 veteran service organization who's helping veterans heal in this way. And I say that because you can have a profound experience and heal from this one thing, but life is a journey, and all kinds of things can set you back and bring back old experiences or old habits, and or just set you back however it may be. So you may have to return to some of these medicines. We're not ever going to say that you're always healed, because you never know what could happen. It could be something as simple as, I'm a single dad, and I've had a partner for the last 5 years, but I raised a daughter on my own, and she started senior year this year. And it's really affecting me, the fact that she's going to be graduating and moving on, that experience. And it made me think, like, man, it had my emotions go up and down. And if you're not in the right space, something as small as that can really, the empty nest syndrome. We
Yeah.
hear about it. So you might need to return to these medicines again later on. And what's really important is having that community to integrate them with, because as we've redone our research as a nonprofit and looked into different healing centers, be it ibogaine or ayahuasca, the treatments oftentimes have a limited time of service, and the veterans are paying for them, and people are paying for these experiences, and you're spending several $1,000s for these experiences. But in 6 to 8 weeks, when their therapy stops, what then? You have to continue to integrate this over a lifetime. So the goal is to build the community of veterans who want to heal that way. And if that's not your shtick, and healing in that way is not, the community is. And that's what we've all lost as veterans, is we lost that community. And a lot of us, myself included, I come from a military family. I know the longstanding veteran service organizations. For a long time, I was like, maybe because I was a little younger, I'm like, I didn't want to wear the funny hat and go sit in a VFW or an American Legion. I'm a part of the American Legion now, and I work with several of the other veteran service organizations, and I'm proud to say that we need all of them together, but none of them are providing the resources that we're trying to provide in this sense. Nobody's really connecting with these medicines. I mean, the VFW and some of them are starting to get behind it now in 2025. We've been doing this since, Operation 1620 was founded in 2017. We merged with Balanced Veterans in 2019 and formed Balanced Veterans Network. We have been doing the advocacy, the education, and the support for veterans in this space for a long time now. And people are starting to recognize that and see it as we move forward. And our voices are starting to be heard in places like DC. And we just really want to see this change, not just for veterans, but for all of the people in our country. That's where it's another fight we're after.
It can help so many different people. And that's, one thing I always say about, growing and talking with other growers, it's great because we can share years worth of experience in a short time. And when you have a community like that, a lot of shared experiences, a lot of shared emotions, a lot of times experiences that the average person isn't familiar with or can't relate to. How could you? So to have that peer group, share their experiences, the wins and the losses throughout this, because like you said, life is, it's not this. That's invaluable. And to touch the psychedelics real quick, it's been a while since I've really gone in on them, but I used them a lot when I was younger. Full disclosure, I've never served. I do fathers, grandfathers, long history of it. So when I say I suffered PTSD, it's different. PTSD is still kind of PTSD, guys. So it really helped me out when I was younger. And one of the things, I used psychedelics like 99% therapeutically. There was maybe one time where I'm like, ooh, flashy lights, but it was a really good tool to me. And one thing that it did is it kind of opened the door, showed me the pathway. They talk about ego death, and that maybe is what I experienced, but I got a new perspective from it. So I'm excited to see that coming up in the conversation when it comes to dealing with some of those things, because for me it was a very introspective experience that I almost have a hard time putting into words.
Yeah, it really can be. And I want to make it clear to all the listeners out here, I'm not a combat veteran. My trauma and my own stuff is a lot like most of the viewers, rather than the few who actually saw and engaged in combat. But like you said, it doesn't mean so many people are broken in so many different ways. There's childhood traumas, all kinds of stuff. Like I said, our goal is to really heal veterans. But when we do our advocacy work, when we're on Capitol Hill, we're there because we're loud and they're actually listening to us. And one of the things about all this medicine, cannabis included, is we need to get the VA healthcare system on board. And I'm going to tell you why, Chad, and this is why it sounds important. I know they get a bad rap, and they do. There's a lot of people who really care there. But the VA healthcare system is the only people who can help a certain number of our veterans who did certain things in countries that they're not allowed to talk about, and things they've saw and done and touched and were exposed to cannot be talked about in a regular clinical environment. Thereby, we can connect and make it shown to the VA that these things like as simple as cannabis are very, very useful tools for our veteran community, it will change the federal guidelines, because if the VA says, let's go for it, the federal guidelines are going to change and adapt around it. So, as I like to say, we're going to keep our foot on their throat, and we're not going to back off, and we're going to let them know that this medicine helps, and we're just going to keep banging the drum. We're actually going to get a coalition and go back to DC in the end of September, and kind of remind them that they need to really think about not just rescheduling, but decriminalizing cannabis, and opening the doors for the research, opening the doors for the education, and allowing the people to have the medicine that has been here forever, that's shown that it doesn't have all these side effects of the pharmaceuticals. So we're excited for what's happening. I mean, it's little changes, but we're not going to back off until, as the chief of operations here, we're not going to back off until we see full legalization in all 50 states and access to every one of our Americans, all of our brothers and sisters. This medicine, you need to have options for it. Psychedelic therapies and cannabis, you need to have all the education and options. If you want to get it from a sterile clinical environment, and that's where you choose to get your psychedelic therapies, then that's okay. If you choose to do it at home in a place where you feel safe and have a psychedelic assisted therapist come to your home, you should feel safe with that. And we should have the education resources and the options available. The only options can't just be pharmaceuticals for us, because it's just ridiculous to pigeonhole us. They might be a pharmaceutical that you'll never come off of. I'm not going to say that like any one of these plant medicines or natural therapies can snap the fingers and fix it. You have to consult with a doctor and consult with medical professionals. And the beauty in it is there's medical professionals now who are willing to have those discussions. And those are the people, if you're listening right now and you're one of those people, please reach out. We need more of you on our side. And it would be great to work with you and have you on our advocacy teams.
And I do want to let everybody know too, links to the website, social medias, and the YouTubes. I'll put them up on the screen a little bit later, but they're all down in the show notes. So very easy if you guys want to connect. Anybody listening, if you want to learn more, just do your research on your own before you reach out. All of that information is there, and you can find the other links. So yeah, just go down in the show notes, guys. It is down there. And that's cool that you guys have grown to the point of influence in Washington, because we all know at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen. It's that lobbying effort. Lobbyists are effective at their jobs, and we need a good one on our side. But let
me make it clear. We don't lobby, we advocate. There's a difference.
Okay. It sounds much better.
We can only advocate, which means we're not taking sides. There's a whole bunch of stories to it. But we do all we can as a nonprofit. And by being known, it's because we just keep showing up. We're there time and time again with other coalitions, with other groups like the IAVA, the Last Prisoner Project, Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We're aligning ourselves with other organizations who are standing in there. And now like Grunt Style Foundation is coming in, and the VFWs are coming in, and they're looking at us, the DAV, as one of the longstanding people who've been on this fight, and we're aligning with them, and our voices are really going to start to be heard now.
Yeah, critical mass, man. Sometimes you just got to hit that critical mass, and then the floodgates open. It's crazy, but it takes organization, and that's maybe something that I want to get to, because you guys, again, you are at that advocacy stage right now. But go back to 2017, when Operation 1620, because that's the particular pillar that is dealing with medicinal cannabis and the education there. So it's easy to be like, so why did you start this? That's an easy one. But how did that maybe form or come about? Was it just a couple guys and like, hey, we can branch out, or what's the story?
You kind of nailed it. I wasn't there at the beginning, right? So it was a group. It was a Facebook group. It was mostly Marines at that time, all male Marines at the time. And it kind of evolved. It was like, then they're taking females, then they're taking all branches. And from my understanding of it all, because it's kind of one of those, everybody was getting high on Facebook as a group thing. What can we do to make a difference? Because that's what it was. It was a Facebook group. Right. What can we do to make a difference is what somebody said. And they said, well, the barrier to entry for cannabis in our state is very high. The cost of the medical referral averages around $300. And then you got to pay $50 for a state fee. And then that's how you walk into a dispensary. You're out that much money. You don't know if the medicine's going to work. You don't know which medicine's going to work. How can we help connect them? So somebody was smart enough to reach out and create a nonprofit and reach out to some medical providers and resources in the Illinois cannabis scene and get donations for medical referrals at no cost. And that was really the start of Operation 1620, was breaking down that barrier to entry and then sharing with one another what medicine's working. Right. So that was really where it started. And then I found it, and I was a grower, and I'm like, oh man, I can really help these guys, because now you're figuring out what medicine works, what happens in a market. Things come and go. All of a sudden you're getting the Jenny Kush or whatever it is. And it's the one that hits, it puts you to sleep. It eases your pain. It releases your anxiety. Well, they don't have Jenny Kush for months. You're on a budget. You can't just buy it all when it's there. What do? You grow your own. So that's where I came in, and I'm like, I really want to just teach people how to horticulture's therapy. I've been watching every podcast I could for years, planted my first seeds years and years ago. And I started as just a member of the group, and I took over the Operation 1620 group. I don't know what, 5 or 6 years ago, they put me in charge of that. And I just kind of took the ball and ran with it and did like YouTube videos and tutorials and started doing grow classes, and really just horticulture's therapy in itself. That's what we all know, all of us that touch the plant.
Yep.
It's its own thing, and it gives somebody some purpose again. And that's what a lot of people are looking for, something to do every day. That sense of, what do you do? I mean, imagine you just fought wars for 2 decades, or even if you didn't, you were just in service. It's very regimented. It's very structured. And when you get out, they don't spend any time to train you how to adapt back to civilian life. Some rough numbers, and they're a little bit skewed, and I'm on the low side. $50,000 minimally trained a United States service member. They spend less than $5,000 in transitioning us out. And what they do is, it's really, in my mind, it changes the way you think, and it kind of reprograms you, and you really fall into this. Even as you go further in rank, the structure and rigidity of the day is, everything's laid out. You know what clothes you're going to put on. You know what hat you got to wear. Like if you're going somewhere else, and you know what your other uniform is. And you got to be there. You got to line up. You got to have accountability. Like, it goes away, and it can really just spiral you way out there. So something as simple as gardening, and you give them that, and you're like, all right, so you got to take notes. I've never seen more detailed notes from a grower than a veteran. Like, holy cow, man.
Right.
Like, everything, you want detailed notes, and you ask them to take notes, because, as you're starting and you're guiding people through their journey, you need to see where they did the change to find what they did wrong. Not even what they did wrong, how they need to adapt their grow. Because I don't think you're ever doing anything wrong growing. You're learning on your growing journey, right? That's how I like to teach it. So I mean, that's Operation 1620. That's where it started, and that's where it is now. Now we're in 32 states, DC and Puerto Rico, with our medical cards. We're going to be giving grow classes around the country. We're partnering with other places, grow shops, and other longstanding BSOs to bring our educational programs forward. With that, we are sponsored by some different people like Sensi Seeds, so we're able to give seeds out to everybody at no cost when they come. We're working on other donations for the grow classes, be it like a big door prize or something that everybody gets, but at least you're going to, at bare minimum, walk away with an education, the community resources to fall back on, a pack of seeds, and our grow classes are open to the public for like a $10 donation. Anybody can come to them, and that helps just keep the mission going. So it's a lot of fun doing that. That's really what my passion was the cannabis side of it. And it just led me to keep going and driving on and filling whatever roles were needed here. So here we are today, doing a little bit of everything.
It's rewarding when you can see a difference in somebody's just perspective or, outlook, and see them progress, take a different path than you thought that they were heading. And that kind of that mentorship, the reaching out, the teaching, growing is absolutely meditative. It's something, going back to the discipline and the schedule, it's something you have to do every day. Plants don't wait for you. So you have to be on top of it. You have to pay attention, and it's tangible. It's something that we can touch, it's something we can see the results of. And just for me mentally, I appreciate that because I see where my effort goes. There's a lot of things that we put a lot of effort into. We don't really necessarily know if there was a hard result at the end, but it's still as important. But yeah, I'm really glad that we are teaching people how to grow again. To your point that, yeah, once you find the right strain, oh my gosh, sometimes even if they do still have that cushion there, it was a bad run and they couldn't get it, or it was handled differently, or it sat in the truck for like a week in hot weather. Getting to grow your own is the best. And I want to ask a very just generic question. There may not be an answer because everybody's endocannabinoid system is different. Cannabis will affect me different, will affect you differently, but sometimes there's commonalities. Has there been one strain or maybe terpene profile or anything that has really resonated with a majority of people experiencing certain things, or is it truly just as individual as we think it is?
In my experience, it's as individual as we think it is. And then your experience with the plant changes it to like things like tolerance and how long you've been using the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say like I'm terrible with enunciation. Miserin dominant
Oh yeah,
products
yep.
seem to be the most effective when it comes to chronic pain, sleep, anxiety. It seems to be it seems to be with the heavier strains, typically for a medicinal purpose, especially for new users and people inexperienced, would probably be like the dominant terpene profile to look for. You give somebody some sativa that's having anxiety, some of the longer flowering equatorials, and it might not be the right thing for them. And that's where I prefer that. Like I kind of like that over the topness because it reminds me that that's why I'm having anxiety. It's not me. It's okay.
I can feel my heart.
Yeah, it's just the haze hitting really hard, like, okay.
Well,
I'm a fan of frosted Jeff's work, so I got the fist pump and I found my cut of fist pump in it. It is not for those that don't want to feel a little bit of anxiety sometimes because it will straight make your heart race and make you feel like, but it reminds me that that's why I'm having anxiety. And I kind of use it as like the mental trick to like, oh, it's just the weed. Like, just enjoy it. Like, all right.
Right. This is part of the journey.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that too. And I was going to be like, awesome hat. I'm like, have you checked out the Roasted Jeff stuff? Because yeah, I had him talked with him once and he's like, man, I want the kind of sativa where you lose your keys in the car while you're driving. Like, I want that kind of crazy sativa. I'm like, okay. He's like, well, maybe not driving, but you know what I mean. And I'm like, exactly. So yeah, that's a person who's up for those sativas and myrcene. So that terpene, one of the cool things about a lot of the terpenes we find in cannabis is they come from other sources in nature. And because they come from other sources, we're able to study them. And yeah, myrcene is one of those that has been shown it can cause sedativeness. It can help a little bit more with pain relief. So I always kind of like to look at that data, apply it back to cannabis, and then really for myself determine how accurate it is. But I'm glad you mentioned that one because yeah, that does seem to work for a lot of people. And that also illustrates the point of when people are trying to, select what they want at the store. If it's a state-run store, a lot of times they will have the terpene tests. Pay more attention to the terpenes or the profiles versus like the THC numbers. Because for me, that typically gets people to their desired strain faster.
Yeah, I agree. THC levels don't really, I find it to be, it's hype. Look at what you can see for terpenes and then if you're not sure what they are, there's like essential oils, like Chad was saying, there's other ways to go experience those terpenes and smell them and or look at like some charts. And that's something that I try to teach people in our mindful cannabis program, is that you got to find what works for you and relates to you. So this smell is very important. And we lose that at a lot. Like in Illinois, you can't just go smell the jar. I remember my first time in Illinois, they like held the jar up and let me see it. And I tried to grab it and they like smacked my hand. I felt like a bad kid. And I'm like, well, how do I know? I always got to smell. I always got to smell the herb before you got to purchase it. And then a lot of places that's not allowed. So hopefully they are doing those tests, and hopefully you can figure out what works for you and follow your nose is what I like to tell people. If it smells like something you desire, then it could be very medicinal for you. I know there's like that really skunky, funky kind of GMO-y herb that goes around, and it's not for everybody. But if you're one of those people that smells it and, and your face curls up, but you want to go back for it, go back for it. That might be the right medicine for you. And same like if it smells sweet and relaxing, like the linalool or some of those other terpenes that you smell, lavendery, like go in for it. That might be what your body's calling for. Your body's receptors know more than we've ever given them credit for, because we're trying to follow science all the time instead of going with the gut instinct of what human nature has driven us to these plants for and why they're giving off these different smells and terpenes that we've guided them to.
Yeah. And they're all, it's like a lot of that research is like I read it, but they're not rules. They're just guidelines. Cause we're all going to be a little bit different. And sometimes it's the combination of terpenes too, that stand out or make things a little bit different. So the kind of a cool thing about cannabis, we're learning more every day. Eventually we'll understand more. One thing that I wanted to ask for, new people coming on, and we're talking about the effects and finding the right strain. What are maybe some of the methods you recommend for somebody to like track them, or like, what do I write down, or do I write things down? Like how does a person kind of narrow in on maybe something that works best for them?
That's a pretty interesting conversation. Yeah, I would say if you're a writer downer, that's going to help you figure it out. Write down what strain you've gotten. Research it. If it doesn't have it, do a quick Google search and see what the terpenes say they are, or blindly do it. I almost recommend saying, take a look at it without it. Get your product, smell it before you break it up. If you got a grinder, grind it. If you break it up, however you do it, cut it with scissors. Give yourself the full nose experience on it. If you're going to roll it up or pack it, roll it up, pack it, set some intentions right away for how you want that medicine to help you too. And then, like do a nice draw through the J or through your pipe and taste it without it on fire. See what those terpenes are feeling and taste, and just calm your mind and don't be like, how high am I going to get? Just try to experience the cannabis for what it is. And I know it sounds kind of silly, but like, let it speak to you. Is it speaking to you? Yeah. And then bring the fire to it and slowly draw and, take your hit and don't go crazy the first time. Just get it on your palate and see what it tastes like. See if that's going to be what's for you. And especially if you're a newer user, don't go take a big hit and then hit another one. Just hit it and sit down with it for a minute. A lot of the more complex cannabis, more than likely you'll find it in a home grow than some of the overly dried quick stuff in the store. But it can be super complex. What you're tasting on the inhale can be different on the exhale, and then it can sit and marinate for a little bit, and you can get like this whole gamut of flavors. So because it says this and this, they're only really going to give you the dominant terpenes. How do they mix together and commingle? And I think there's like over 600 different compounds. You got your terpenes, flavonoids, your plant esters, your sulfur compounds. There's a lot of different things that are going to come into the way cannabis tastes, smells, and affects you. So it's really about those secondary metabolites for the effect, which is everything outside the THC and the CBD. So that's really the short of it, is just get some experience with it and try to educate yourself a little bit on what the different scents and smells should be in general giving, right? Because like you said, everybody's a little different, but it is kind of a baseline. Everybody has their own ticks, like, right? If you're a person with ADHD, the medicine you take calms you down. But if you don't have ADHD and you can take that medicine, those pharmaceuticals, they can have the opposite effect and almost be like taking a speed. So
yeah, I mean, that's great advice. I'm glad you broke it down in detail to that extent. Again, you do kind of have to experience it. Take that dry hit. How does it sit with you? How does it smell? You know, you said earlier, the nose knows, right? I do miss that about the medical days here, because I made my purchasing decisions kind of based off of smell, not percentages, and not even necessarily looks. It was always like, that one speaks to me. I will take, blah, blah, blah of that, please, sir.
yeah.
It's a great way to do it. And two, talking about experience, how, you've been growing for a while. How has your growing or maybe style progressed from the beginning to where you are today? And maybe a tip that, a new grower would benefit from, something that you maybe like, wish somebody told me that.
Number one tip, keep it simple.
Yes.
And stay with one person's method. Pick one person and follow their method to begin with. Don't change it. Okay. Just stay with a method and follow it and track it, especially in the beginning. My journey goes way, way back. Like my first plant was in like 95. I threw some seeds out my apartment window and they popped. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a pot plant growing outside. I like ran into the woods and it got eaten by it got eaten by deer.
Oh no.
And then so after that, we popped some seeds, country boys in the cornfields and stuff. Nothing ever came to it, but I was able to pop seeds and like grow bag seeds from, the Mexican brickweed that we were getting, there was a lot of seeds. It was really just, I didn't really overthink it. And then I got into more active growing. I was a hustler after I got out of the military. It was easier just to get it and procure it than hunt it down from other people. If I could hook up a couple buddies, I'd have it. Used to be. I didn't really grow then because I was worried. I'm like, I didn't want to take that leap. And then I did in the black market era. I got into it and we did it for a little while. And then I was transporting seeds to the location and I got stopped and they got found. And like that ended that. And that we were running like aeroponics, 99 slots. We weren't hitting that 100 number. Got a couple of crops out of it. Learned a lot real quick. I learned that, mixing strains in an aeroponic table is very problematic for so many reasons, from the nutrient regimens to the stretch to all this. Had no idea. They would just hydro store selling you stuff because it looks cool in high times, They're
all plants, right? They all grow the same. They're all, unless you don't know.
Yeah. So then fast forward, I wanted to grow single dad. I'm not going to make the mistake. I, kept my nose clean until medical cannabis came to Illinois. Perfect. And I was like, dude, this is sweet. I got my medical card. I can grow 5 plants. And I went to what I thought that I'd always wanted to do, because in the past I was working with other people. We were doing a lot of bottle stuff. Mm-hmm. I wanted to try that whole organic thing, keep it simple and do some subcool style. Weed nerd, super soils, I went there. And I've just kind of kept it going that way. Now I'm in earth boxes and I have a bed, a 4x4 bed. And then I have earth boxes that I run in. And I really just like the hands-off approach at this time. I've grown a multitude of ways, from hydro systems, DWC. I played with it all through the years just to make sure I was tuned up, and like what I learned through all the podcasts and forums and all the studying I'd done through the years. Because even when I didn't grow, I wanted to, and I wanted to learn about it. And I just like, I want to go to Humboldt and I want to grow and I want to see what I can do. And so I practiced a lot of different techniques, and I really just, I like the ease of organics. I don't follow a lot of rules. I don't like to say everything I do because it's so wrong. Like I don't pH my water all the time and stuff, but my plants will show some stress sometimes. but I've grown enough to be like, oh, that one's just, it's getting used to this pH. Let me give it some recharge and some boost of microbes and it'll fix it right up. So I like to keep it simple because I put a lot of time into helping other people grow, and I'm more rewarded now when I teach somebody about gardening. I love producing my own medicine and I have my great relationship with it, but the excitement for me now comes from like that new guy that's like sending me a picture every day. Like I don't need to see my garden every day. It's on cruise control. Like I go down and I give it a good inspection and I like to look every day, but I'm not like, oh my God, my seedling grew an inch. Like they grow an inch like every day for like 2 weeks.
I love it.
That big, you know, once they hit like, and you're growing it, it's so much fun. Their excitement, their enthusiasm, it drives me and it makes me just love growing even more because
keeps us young,
you know,
right? Keeps us young.
The hunt is always fun. I'm hunting again for Dude Grows next year. So I've got some different seeds going now to try to find something a little different. I used cherry paloma last year because it was like the best thing I had. My fist bump I didn't think it would resonate with the crowd. It doesn't show very well. It hits hard, but it doesn't show well. It's like, it looks like old greenweed, like from the 90s.
Oh, dude, that's actually probably going to do really well these days. Like, even if it doesn't smoke, people are like, it's green. It looks like 90s weed. But that's, you know, a benefit too to competitions where they have someone who rolls all the joints because you don't ever get to look at the weed. So now Operation, sorry to interrupt you there. Operation 1620 though did place at the DGC Cup. Was that yours?
Yeah, I grew the cherry paloma that they had brought out.
Yeah, congratulations.
Jessica was there, my partner, and she brought it out, and Terry went and represented it. I have been at the DGC Cup the last few years. I promised my kid to bring them to a concert, and dad duties called that weekend. I will be there next year for sure, bringing some fire. Excited for that. Funny quick story. You met Terry.
Yep.
Not this year.
Oh, okay. You're back.
Yeah. Last year at DGC, I'm sitting there and I told the org that it's my vacation. I don't really want to do work there because I do work all the time. I'm like, at DGC, I'm just going to go, and I kind of disassociate when I smoke that much weed. I don't talk to a lot of people because I sampled every sample, and then I went over to JJ's table and he hit me with some one of his piff cuts, and it just, I mean, I was cooked. So, but I see a guy sitting there eating and he's got a 1620 shirt, and I go up to him. I'm like, hey, that's a pretty cool shirt. Like, I run that program. He's like, oh, and that's how I met Terry, was the 2024 DGC Cup. And he had gotten the shirt in Pennsylvania at a cannabis festival. We'd met him, and he's like, I'd been looking for how to get a hold of you guys. So I met Terry out there, and now Terry's on board with our staff. So the world is very small. There's a couple other 1620 guys I've met throughout the years, and the Dude Grows community as well. So I'm certain that we're all out here. The circle's small when you really start breaking it down, and it's really enjoyable just to bring veterans who don't know about this culture and this community into it. Even, you know, the veteran community that we have here is great, but when they come into the culture and you get them into something like this and they get excited about growing and they start watching all the podcasts and like, hey, you should go to the Dude Grows Cup. And they're like, what's that? Oh yeah, I want to go, you know, like, because the community, because that's what really, I mean, we're all a little, I'll say it, like a lot of us longtime growers, whatever, we don't come out a lot. We stay in our gardens. But when we get out, I think of it like the fur trappers, right? We're out in the mountains, fur trapping. They come for their rendezvous once a year. This is like the growers' rendezvous. You come out and we're all a little weird. It's okay. But, you know, we have our medicine. We have a great time. If you're the fly on the wall guy that don't talk like me at those events, it's still an epic time, right? Like, because everybody's just in a great mood and the vibe is super chill. And that's what that kind of attitude is what I wanted to bring to a veteran service organization when I came in and started doing the 1620 side of it. And that's really what we're pushing to do now. And the next year, we're trying to bring our veterans lounge. We set up veterans lounges at different places For the past 5 years at National Cannabis Festival in Washington, D.C.,
Oh, wow.
we've set up a giant veterans lounge, and that's a safe place for veterans to come throughout the middle of that music festival and have some refreshments, have a cool spot to sit down, put their bag down and like know it's safe, come medicate and know that like only people around them are veterans. We've done some like yoga classes and meditation classes in those lounges. And one of our goals in 2026 is we want to bring that on the road and bring it to more places. We kind of want to get an RV and be able to, well, we go to National Cannabis Festival, stop at a couple locations, be it a DAV hall or a city park that's having a farmer's market, and pop up our Veterans Lounge, whether it's for cannabis use or not, depending on the state, really just bring that community, peer support, and reaching veterans that are in need in different places. So I'm really hoping we can get that going. This guy's been rocking up 1620 slap. All right. That's awesome, bro.
For a few years now, J5. That's awesome. Awesome to see. He does a lot of trim bin sessions. So it's usually him, and it's just like the trim bin and his hands. You don't necessarily see him, but you got the trim bin there. Pleasantly, he does have one of my stickers on there too, which I love seeing every time. But now I'm gonna be like, where's the BBN or Operation 1620 sticker? My eyes are gonna go straight to it next time. But yeah, a lot of support in the chat, actually. Well, not surprisingly, but a lot of support in the chat, which is good. Sorry to again, I tend to jump around sometimes on people. You were talking about your 4x4 bed. Is your 4x4 in a tent, or is it kind of an open space?
Yeah, so I'm a tent grower. I have two 5x5s and a 4x4. My 4x4 bed is in a 5x5 AC Infinity tent. Shout out to them. They don't sponsor me or nothing, but we all know they got great gear. And I use the Grassroots 4x4 bed. I followed a mix. Like, here's where I'm telling people to follow one recipe. I did a mix of the Soil Horizons, Leighton Morrison. Yeah. So I followed a little bit of his recipe, but then I built using Coots' recipe, Clackamas Coots. Okay. So I used a lot of the malted barleys and the neem cake and the karanja meal. But I also did like the Horizons, where I have the gravel bed and like the silt filter with sand. And I went and I sourced clay. I was on an excavation project and I was like 12 feet down in a hole. And I'm like, this clay is so clean. And it was dry because it was under pavement. Like, we had pulled up a pavement and done a big. So I like excavated this clay out and like dried it out in the sun and like camped it down and broke it up. I went out into the creek bed and got silt. I got local leaf mold, and I live in a townhouse. So like, I brought all this stuff in my garage, and there's just this tarp full of soil, and I'm mixing soil in there, and it smelled like a brewery and like a forest and
fermenting.
It was amazing. And it's really become the easiest thing I've ever done. My soil's got like the pill bugs in it, and there's all different things. I went to a living soil masterclass with Queen of the Sun Grown, and she put my stuff under the microscope, and I had protozoa, and we had like a river of bacteria and all the little fungal hyphae, and like, it's a lot of fun to have all that stuff. And I also found like these little millipedes, and I was researching there. And their compost, and their vermicompost, it's 100 times more fungal than worm compost. So when you get all these, and I don't know where they came from. It came somewhere in my compost. I believe it came from the mushroom compost I bought locally. But these little millipede guys, and they're super rich compost. It breaks down with high fungal ratios. So it's just neat to see all that stuff kind of come together when you scrape around the soil and little things crawl off and worms are up there. And I love it. It's a unique experience. It's kind of, the soil mites be a little crazy. Like, people see the soil mites when you get real close and you're looking at is that the mushrooms that I took today, my microdose? No. Or is my soil alive? And literally you'll go down there sometimes and they're just like,
that's funny. That's the exact thing that I had in my head before we got on here. I was editing a video. I was doing soil amending, and after I had scratched it in, I have a close up of the soil because before and after. And as I'm watching it on my big screen here, I see like little soil mice, and I'm like, oh, see, people have to have the stomach for it, not necessarily because it's gross, but to see something moving in your grow. You're like, what the heck? It's moving, but beneficial. Usually the beneficial things are fast. The ones that are bad are slower. So when you see something across your soil like that, you're like, all right, you're cool. We can hang. But I do enjoy that about the organic soil as well, because it really does start to work for you. People have their opinions of, whether the quality is better than this or that. And I really do. I like that approach. And the reason I asked, purely selfish reasons here, that's the cool thing about being a host. It's like, I've got a question. So the 4x4 bed in the tent, like I've always struggled with humidity. And that's one thing about a big soil mass and tents that people have to deal with. I live in a high humidity area. Maybe if somebody lived in Colorado where it was super low, that'd be the perfect answer to keep normal humidity. But how do you deal with like humidity? Is it a 4x4 tent and a 4x4 bed, or is it a larger tent? Like, how do you deal with that issue?
So my grow space is 12 by 14, and in there are 2 5x5s and a 4x4. The bed is in a 5x5 tent.
Perfect.
And that tent gets vented into the 4x4 bed space. The lung room has a air dehumidifier that runs constantly, set at 30, like as low as it can go.
Wow.
I pull about 3 to 5 gallons of water out every 24 to 36 hours. The bucket's full. I put it on a stand and I got it draining down into a bucket. I reuse that water too. Like I said, I break a lot of rules. I just take my dehumidifier water, put it right on that bed. The microbes and the soil balances itself out. I'm 4 years in and I've been doing it the same way. I believe in my methods. I believe in microbes. I believe in worms.
Yeah.
Don't always do as I say, find a method that works for you. But if you do, like I came from that environment where we were growing in aeroponics, dude, we were using like 30% hydrogen peroxide, cleaning everything super sterile. Like,
yeah,
you got a beard, you better put on a mask. Like, don't drip your skin in it. Like, clean. And I've gone the other way, like where I'm not as worried about it. Like I pluck the leaves and drop them on the top of the soil, and like, yeah, you might wind up with some things if you were testing. I'm brain fart, aspergillus, right? Like that might be that very well might be present in my garden. It might be. I mean, that's a reality of some of these organic practices, but it's present in most places. I live in an agricultural community.
It's in the air. Yeah. PM, spores, it's in the air.
So, but to the next answer is my basement. I live in a newer townhouse. I have a high and dry basement. I was built on a good piece of land. My basement's not been wet in the hardest storms we've had. My sump pumps never really kicked. I'm a contractor, so I'm pretty fluent with these things. I actually did basement waterproofing. My basement stays super dry. Even in the summertime, I'm in Illinois where we got the corn sweat going right now. My air conditioner is cranked in my house at 67 degrees. So my house stays cool. And the basement, because it's a basement that's dry, is cool and dry year round. Nice. And it's really a big benefit. And then my other 5x5, I vent out of that the lung room. It just vents to the other side of the basement, which helps warm it in the wintertime. And in the summertime, it helps some humidity and keep things like that. And the 4x4 also vents out. So the big bed, though, I actually vent that into my veg space to increase humidity in the veg space. Something some people don't think about, like if you're in a dry place, use the humidity from why buy a humidifier and dump water in it? If you're dumping water in a humidifier, if you got water like mine, it's going to leave water spots on it too, because it's harder water. That's why else I use my humidifier water, because it takes the hardness away from it. It's evaporated water I've recycled. So closing loops.
All part of the organic practices. And it's funny, sometimes again, because I like to help people grow and a lot of new growers as well. And I have definitely said do as I say, not as I do a few times, because as you get more experienced with it, you kind of learn maybe to mitigate risks a little bit better. You understand more of what can happen, so you let things go. But working commercially was my first experience of just like abusing plants. I'm like, you want me to do what to that plant? And you do it because that's what they tell you to do. And then you come back 2 days later and it's like you did nothing to the plant. It's like that thing didn't even blink at that. So yeah, that's where I learned some of my good bad habits was working commercially. Um, and I guess just to one step further, that is, as a new grower, we always want everything perfect. We always want everything sterile. We want to baby our plants. The more we go in our grow journey, we learn that a little bit of stress here and there in a controlled manner, intentional manner, can actually help increase yield. So it's all part of the progress and all part of the journey. And that's cool that you have such a diverse background too of different medias, because that as an educator is so important to have. Not everybody's going to be able to have a 4x4 soil bed. Not everybody's, some people live in like high-rise apartments in the middle of downtown New York. What are you going to do with your soil there? So hydroponics, aquaponics, those type of methods really help. So thank you for answering that question about the humidity, because if I could run a 4x4 in my 4x4 bed in my tent, I would, but I just can't with the humidity here. And yeah, I dump about 3 gallons from my dehumidifier at least 2 to 3 times a day. So
yeah, the environment plays a big role on what you can do. And if you're going to try to go in a large volume of soil, be aware of your environment always. I mean, with all growing, but if you're going to, 200 gallons ish of soil is what filled that bed. Maybe it's like 190 or something, right? Like that's
it's
a lot of
heavy
bucket
too.
loads downstairs. Like it's heavy. And like I put it too far into the corner. Like I got to move my bed. My zipper's kind of messing up on a very, very old tent too. So I'm going to have to like figure out how to do this. I'm probably going to have to scoop the soil out, put it in buckets, and it is what it is. People, you can't till the soil. Yeah, it'll come back in my opinion. I'm not going to let like beat myself up about, oh, your soil's 4 years old and you're disturbing it. Man, them microbes are way stronger. Those fungal hyphae will regenerate and recolonize. We can use some KNF techniques and use, some fermented plant extracts and stuff and some recharge and all that good stuff and fire it right back up. So I'm not going to oversweat it, but it is a pain in the butt if you do something and then it doesn't work. So my last experience with hydro, I had the living soil bed and I tried to put a hydro on the other side. I set up this big bucket system and I had the hydrogen clay balls and all. I'm like, I'm going to do it again for an educational series. And it made my humidity spike in my house. And I couldn't control it with that water spraying. Like it got out of control. And what happened was powdery mildew. And I'm like, oh man, enough of this. I'm like, not doing it. Like I'm just going to go back to the earth boxes in there. They got the diaper over the top and I just do a plant or two in that tent at a time. Cause I like the ease of the earth box too. It's that organic.
Yeah.
Dip pottery, like you dump 2 gallons down the drain, come back in 3 days. Like doesn't need water for a couple of days. It kind of takes my hands off and lets me get a lot of other work done.
I do
Babies always need work.
Yeah, I do like kind of the bottom feeding systems. And, too, when you're taking things out of, the grower's hands, it gives them more time to focus on the plant, to read the leaves, to observe. And that, whether it's nutrients or just shape and morphology, and that can increase your yield, that extra time spent looking at the plant can be beneficial for people. So I do too. I try to look for water only methods or something simple. So I want to set people up for success. We can overcomplicate this as much as we want. And I, in the beginning, I grew very, very simple, more, simpler than you should, but I grew simple. And guess what? I still grew a plant that I harvested. So yeah, you could go many, many different ways with that. I want to real quick, just, again, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the time. I don't want to keep you all day. Definitely want to touch on a few more things though. If you have a couple minutes.
Yeah, let's keep going. Like I said,
Awesome.
I'm good to sit and shoot the breeze with you. I'm loving it, Chad. I'm loving it.
Oh, thank you, man. All right, I want to pull up the BVN website here, and we'll just kind of navigate people through it. Wrong button.
It might have a little bit of an issue. I'm in the middle of relaunching the website, and it's a little bit wonky this weekend.
Okay.
As
Of
terrible
course.
as that is.
System update. That's
We're
funny.
updating the website right now, and I actually got to meet with my web guy a little bit later on and get it tuned up, because you can probably open it right now, but
Yep.
a lot of the links we're going to get 404 errors on.
Okay, well, fair enough. Good to know, because if somebody's going there, just watching the show, and they're going there right now and they're getting the 404, they're like, oh man, shoot. So good to know. And you guys are going to be getting this, working on it soon. So full functionality. If you guys are watching this on the replay, please definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at it today, let's just see here. So, classic, kind of about, we've got the team and partners in wellness, which are always good. The more you can learn about the group, for me, it makes me feel better. That's why it was cool that Terry, when he approached me, I said, hey, I was going to walk over to you guys at some point anyways, because it's something near and dear to my heart. But he found me before I even made it over, and he was very, very nice, handed me the card, told me a bit about it, and I was like, perfect, man, because I want to learn more. And this has some of the directly supporting veterans numbers on here, people's reached, lives that you've touched, and we're going to wrap this up eventually, letting people know about the special seed auction that we're going to be doing September 5th. I'm going to be the guest with Jim and Chonky Nugs, and every month they get together to do a seed auction for the charity of the guest choice. Last month they had the Seed to Harvest crew on, and I know they were raising money for BBN, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome, but that was mine. So we're going 2 months in a row. Why not? So, okay, let me click on mission objectives here, because this, again, you talked about the pillars earlier, the 5 pillars, and we've got your community here and a lot of good information. Again, people, veterans, please take the time to read through this. If you've been looking for a community, if you've been looking for grow knowledge, just someone to talk to who might understand what you're going through, or maybe what your goals are. That's what this is for. So we've got the community tabs, mental wellness. You kind of touched on, again, such a huge piece of the puzzle, because you can't. I'm trying to think of an analogy, and I'm struggling, but you can't just fix one thing and expect everything else to work, man. It's a multi approach to a lot of these things that we deal with in life, and mental wellness is a big part of it. Movement. You mentioned disc golf. I've got the disc right here. So maybe what are some other things, or do you have another favorite activity that you like to get out and do? Something anybody can go and do.
Disc golf is my favorite, right? That's why we press it a lot, and I've gotten a lot of veterans into it, because it's if you've never done it, you're basically it's in most city parks, or a lot of city parks, and you're just walking around and you're doing a hike with a frisbee. Other than that, ruck marching is very popular amongst our veteran community, and that's slapping a backpack back on and going out and knocking some miles out. Okay. We support the Ruck Marches. Chicagoland Veterans Association does some ruck marches that we've been a part of. The Silkies March with their Reverent Warriors. We'll send our teams out on that. And really just whatever people are into. We've done some snowboarding with other veterans. I've gotten out and just, we just get out. The whole goal is to connect people. And as we grow as a nonprofit, we really don't have a lot of funding in this space right now. Mm-hmm. It's in my projection to build upon. And the goal that I'm seeing is really, by having the veterans connected who are using these alternative therapies, what else do you do in life to find balance, right? Maybe you are a disc golfer and you can introduce somebody to that sport, or you do hiking and I'm going to go do this trail, and then I'm going to show these guys this trail, or kayaking, or mountain biking. We got a guy who does a lot of mountain biking, and he goes out with I think it's Semper Fi Foundation, and they have this whole like mountain biking thing that he went out and did. Really just connecting the dots with whatever the veteran is trying to find, and then ask them what resources they found. Like, oh, I found this nonprofit or this organization that helps connect you with this. So you can tag a buddy along. Or if they're into fishing, maybe you get in the group and be like, I'm, looking for a buddy to go fishing with. That's a movement pillar, right? Like you're getting out, you're doing something. And it's kind of all about just that.
Yeah. Good. Fresh air, movement, and more importantly, being outside. For me, that's healing and restorative in itself. So you got to pick the right environment, but all of these are kind of encouraging you to go out and hit nature. So I am completely unprofessional.
I muted mine.
There we go. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I don't even know who it is, but I wouldn't answer it unless it was my mom. So middle of the show, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, getting out, getting movement, so important. I'm gonna get up as soon, when we're done here. I'm gonna get up and take my kind of daily walk. I try to do that because I sit in front of the computer. I work a lot, and yeah, there's those moments where I'm like, get up, get movement, get some fresh air, come back, and you typically more mentally clear when you come back to do things. I want to put this back up because the fourth pillar here, or the fourth on this list, was the Operation 1620, and this is where people can find out more about your baby. So is there anything that you wanted to add to kind of the Operation 1620 that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
Well, another program that we have there is the Breakfast Buds program, and that's one of the original ways I found out about it. And Breakfast Buds, what we do is we team up with local dispensaries and eateries, and we create an event where we go have breakfast, and the breakfast is covered so we can have a free meal. Like I said in the beginning, breaking bread and sharing cannabis kind of go hand in hand to me, and they're a great way to break down the barrier of community and get people talking and engaging. Because you might start off the day and there's two guys and they're sitting in there and they're veterans, they don't know each other, so you're a little standoffish and you're in public, so there's a little anxiety. But after you eat some food and smoke, like, they're buddy. So we go have breakfast, then we head to the dispensary, and the dispensary will give us discounted or free items. They can't really give free. They got to charge like a penny and stuff in a lot of states, but highly discounted, extra discounts upon the day, and goodie bags to go to the veterans who show up. We'll sometimes tie that in with educational resources if they have them available. Anything from like the mindful cannabis class to just like making sure they get their medical cards. And then after that, we try to, again, tie in something, whether it be going to a park and doing a hike or going out and disc golfing, just some way to engage one more time and get that movement aspect of it. So that's something that we've done in the past, and COVID kind of hampered it. It was how I first found these guys, was with the Breakfast Buds program, and it hammered it. And we've been trying to figure out how to get it going. So it looks like we're going to be coming up in Illinois, in the Rockford area, and down in Urbana. We have a couple different dispensaries that are going to support this mission. Awesome. New Era and Happy Cannabis Company are going to help us bring these to these two respective locations. And on top of that, down in the Tucson area of Arizona, we've got one of our leaders, Brandon Bennett, is putting some stuff together. And then down by Port Charlotte, Florida. So it's all about where we have members who are willing to get up and be a volunteer and go out and find this stuff in their community. So we're trying to get it together. We have Josh and Brandon, respectively, in Arizona and Florida, are trying to get those programs going there as well. Chicagoland is kind of the hub because that's where I am, and I'm willing to put in a lot of volunteer time. And I've been grinding away at this for years, and we have some good partnerships that are willing to support us in these manners. If you're a veteran and you're listening and you want to step into a role and help volunteer, absolutely reach out. Any of this stuff at balancedveterans.org is the email. You can put info, support at, it all gets caught. It will all get gone through. So that's balancedveterans.org. And if you're wanting to volunteer, just let it know in your subject matter, hey, I'm a veteran looking to volunteer. And if you're just looking to join the community, it says it right up there in the section, sign in, sign up. That's how you go about getting your medical marijuana referrals in your different states through the different partnerships we have. And they're all online referrals. It's super quick. Once you get verified through our system and you get referred out to your doctors, these providers know that you're a veteran. It's already verified. They're going to make it super easy. I'm not going to say anything else because I'm not a provider and I'm not sure what all the legalities are. I can tell you this, that it was the easiest it's ever been is when I use our providers. It's click, go. They called me. They're like, your appointment. Do you want to schedule one now or wait and have one within 15 minutes? I said, let's do it in 15 minutes. 5 minutes later, a doctor came on. 3 minutes after that, I was done with my appointment. That afternoon, they had turned my stuff into the state of Illinois so I could get my card and like go about the next step. So it was really this seamlessly easy process. And we have it in a lot of different states, places where you wouldn't think, even like Texas, right? Like they're like, yeah, there is a medical program there. And it behooves you to have these cards in your states, folks. It really does. It's a layer of protection. Even when you're traveling in states that don't recognize it. Will it stop you? No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to say that, but it offers you a layer of protection when you have a medical referral. Long before I had an Illinois medical referral, I got a medical referral from a doctor in Portland, Oregon. Because I was out west for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely benefit from this medicine. I'm like, they don't care in my state. They're like, have your medical referral and it will help you if you get stopped. At least you can say to the officer, hey, look, I know it's not legal in my state, but in a lot of states it is. And they're showing that it's medicine, and maybe you'll get a break. Maybe you won't. I don't know. It doesn't hurt. And it doesn't hurt when you go into court, because my experience prior to cannabis legalization was getting stopped a couple of times. And the medical referral actually did in my case. When they were prosecuting me, they looked, I had no other charges. I was a single father at the time. I ran a small business. Like,
responsible adult.
An eighth of weed on him. Like, can we not hammer him to the wall? He's got a medical referral from another state. Like, I had a state appointed attorney that was just really good and really supportive of it. So
good.
Having that little bit of protection really does help. And in some places you're losing your gun rights. I understand that. The Second Amendment's huge to us veterans in particular. Just being in Minnesota at St. Paul recently at the cannabis convention, the first 4 people I spoke with were retired military and law enforcement combined. And they were very, very worried about their gun rights. And they actually, one of these officers had his former sheriff, his former employer, show up at his house and was like requesting a forfeiture of stuff and telling him, I don't know the whole legalities on it all. But I'm here to say at Balanced Veterans Network, we're going to fight for those rights. We do have people on staff who can help advise and point you in the right directions and help educate you. I know in Illinois, there's some trickiness that happens once you get your cannabis card as far as purchasing firearms, but you're still allowed to possess, you're still allowed to carry. Pay attention to your local laws. But advocacy for that is huge. And that's another thing that we're trying to inform our veterans of. You shouldn't have to give up a right to have a right.
Yes. Yeah,
exactly. You can go to the liquor store, you can get your benzodiazepines, you can get your SSRIs, you can get all these other medicines prescribed to you and still have your firearms.
Oh, yeah.
We have to stand up and we have to be very vocal about this. We are not giving up rights to lose rights. So pay attention in your states that are coming on board, what they're doing with legalization, because they're hiding rights, and they've done it over and over and over again. I'm sure in your state, in different places, we're going to legalize it, and hidden in that legalization language for adult recreational use is a whole bunch of things where they're taking away our rights, and that's not acceptable. So we have to be very conscious of what we're voting for, and conscious of what they're trying to slip in there, and hold your elected officials accountable as constituents, guys. This is huge. I know a lot of us are in the counterculture, like, F the system. It's not worth it. It doesn't get us anywhere. Left or right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hold them accountable.
Yeah.
We don't pick a side. We're holding them accountable. We're the voice of the people. Like, we want this medicine. We need this medicine. Tell our stories, share your stories, come out of the closets. Let people know how this medicine has touched your life. Even if it's as simple as testimony, or it's as simple as backing organizations like Balanced Veterans Network that is willing to go put ourselves out there. We weren't afraid to go sign up to fight the battles that we didn't even choose. we got some really dedicated people that have chose to fight this battle.
Yeah.
And we're aligning ourselves with all different organizations that are trying to do it. You know, places like Normal, they're all state run and they're all over the place, but we're connecting with a lot of those guys. However it is, be the voice of the change. And if you're not, support the people that are. That's the biggest takeaway I can give of what we're doing for you non-veterans out there, is just help simply supporting our organization by sharing stuff, logging into our website, giving us reviews on Google so we can get pushed further to the top of the algorithms. They are holding us back as a nonprofit in all of these spaces just as hard as all these other producers that we love and follow, who's getting shadow banned, whose channels are being taken down, whose episodes are being age gated. The only way to beat them is come together. So any of the support you can give us in those realms is hugely, greatly appreciated. And you did mention the seed auction and seed to harvest. We're going to be working with them on a pheno hunt of the Tiki Reigns from JR Token and Tiki Madman. I don't know if you heard about that at all, but we're trying to get some different people involved in that. I think it's going to be the November-ish timeline is when that package is going to go out with those Tiki Reigns. But if you're a veteran and you're interested in that, get a hold of us. I have some of the Tiki Reign seeds here too with me to get out to you. And what we really want to do is kind of do a group grow along and take some pictures. And if we find one that's really special, let's get it. Let's keep it. We do have the ability to save clones and share clones among the community. That's something else that we can do for one another. The way the laws are written right now, we can have those clones and get them to one another. So that's the magic of the medicine, is finding that one that works. And we touched on this earlier. What works for everybody? Talking to JR a little bit, if you heard about the Tiki Reign, it's got a really wide variety of secondary cannabinoids, the CBGs and THC Vs and stuff like that. So this unique blend is something that I feel that a lot of the older cannabis had that we've lost by polyhybridizing over and over again, which makes good, tasty cannabis. I'm not knocking it. Like the weed tastes better now than it ever did before. But I think we've lost some of the magic in some of the stuff that didn't have all of these exotic flavors that we're getting to now. And it's the secondary metabolites that produce those healings. So hopefully we can find something real special in this hunt and then be able to hold on to it and get it out to the community. And hopefully the seeds are good enough to where we have a whole bunch of real good ones and everybody's just got something really good on their hands that can help get them through their days.
It's freaking awesome. I want to put up a comment too from Chunky, because we highlighted the website here. And again, everybody, if you are watching the show on the replay or curious, you want after the fact, all of the links are down in the show notes, directly to the website, directly to the YouTube. Go ahead, please go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's help get that more viewers so they can go live and do more things with the YouTube channel. They're also on Facebook. You can connect directly with Operation 1620 and the BVN as a larger whole. And if you are going to the website, I see somebody typed in 403 forbidden. I'm assuming that's in relation to the website. Under maintenance this weekend. So thank you for going there. Thank you for typing that in the chat. But yeah, if you hit the 404 error or any kind of errors on the website this weekend, or I'm just going to say next week as well, because I've done tech stuff. And when you say the weekend, it's like, it's stretched into the next week. Yeah. So for the next few weeks. But yeah, don't be afraid to go there, guys, and try again. The website and the link is down in the show notes. That is where you can donate. That is where you can partner. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, and again, thank you, CJ, for making the time to fit in to the kind of time schedule I wanted to do, because I wanted to get more people familiar with, not only yourself, but also Operation 1620 and the mission that you guys are doing, because we're going to be doing a very special auction, the Seeds for Charity, on September 5th. I'm going to be the co-host with Jesus Plants and Chonky Nugs. And I'm putting up stuff that you're from myself that you're never ever going to be able to get anywhere else. There will be some just absolutely exclusive things that I just made for myself. There'll be some special things up there. But if you guys have beans that you wanted to donate as well, you have some packs, all of the money goes to BVN, helps support the mission and Operation 1620. So guys, you can reach out to Chunky Nugs. You can reach out to myself if you want to get involved in that as well. But mark it on your calendar because there's going to be some very special genetics available for auction on the 5th. So that's how we're going to try to help raise some funds this month. And I'm so glad Terry came and talked to me. And I'm so glad, CJ, that you came and talked to me today just to expose people to it. But also for those veterans that are out there, that's something that I want to ask is, you know, you're very approachable. And it sounds like a wonderful community. But for like the shy person or, you know, the person who doesn't branch out, the person who likes to stay at home, or somebody that's unsure sitting on the fence, what would you say to that shy person who's just like, I don't know, should I reach out? I don't know.
So what I'll say is the links that you're not going to see are for the closed groups, and you're going to have to look for them directly. It's BVN Operation 1620. We have a closed Facebook group with a few thousand members, and it's closed for a reason. It's so we can we
Good.
monitor, we ask you answer the questions that you're a veteran. We ask that you respect the veteran cause so people can talk in states where this medicine's not okay, or people who are transitioning out of their service. We have all different kinds of people in there. But that group's a real safe place. Just come in. I'm the one that will approve you. Like, I don't ask for a bunch of stuff. You just answer the questions. You're not going to be asking for your DD-214s or anything. Just be honest with us. Come into a group of veterans and not be a veteran. You will get found out very quickly. But just come be a fly on the wall and come sit back and lurk. See the interactions. And Discord's the same way. We've got a Discord group that we're really working on getting forward. I want to shout out to Guppy. If any of you know Guppy from the Dude Grows and from the Irie Genetics crew, like they're helping get that Discord movement. Cause I'm not tech savvy in that way. But I know that there's a lot of people who can benefit from these different communities. The only reason I stayed on Facebook for as long as I have is because this Operation 1620 group is near and dear to me. And it's been the way we've connected with veterans for a long time. But beyond that, we are, with the new website, we're going to be involving a LMS system in the back end where you're going to be able to come on and see videos that are going to have all the educational stuff that YouTube don't want you to see with direct plant contact and stuff like that, where we're not going to have to worry about it. It's going to be no charge for our veterans. There'll be a small fee to see the video, or you can sign up for like a monthly donation to our nonprofit and you'll be able to get all our educational content at no cost that we put up on our website. So that stuff's all part of what this big change that's coming is moving forward to. It's setting up our website to have more integration for our users, for our veterans in particular, but as a way to kind of generate a little bit of revenue to keep the mission going, because hosting all the platforms and StreamYards and it all cost money, and all the money we spend on stuff like that takes away from the resources we're trying to get. We're really trying to connect, break down the barrier. The cost of all these healings is super high. With the VA not being on board, psychedelic assisted therapies are, I mean, these trips range from, if you're lucky, a couple $1,000s to they're charging $20,000 and $30,000 for some of these out of country experiences.
Holy cow.
And are you even getting proper healing? So we're trying to make sure we vet these organizations and get discounted rates or donations. And we're working with the ones that want to help veterans the most and really want to see us succeed and aren't just trying to line their pockets. So at bare minimum, just come be a fly on the wall if you're a veteran and you're unsure, and just gauge the interest. You can come in on our Facebook group and be an anonymous member, right? So nobody's going to know, and just ask some questions. One thing we will not have in that group is we will not have anybody picking on you or bullying you or calling you out if you don't know something right. If you always see the funny videos of the guys trying to smoke and they're doing it all wrong. Like, no, man, we're actually putting together, we're putting together a whole class that we're going to be giving at the DAV on how to use cannabis properly, because a lot of our elderly veterans who were told this is the devil's lettuce their whole life are really afraid of this.
They don't want to smoke a lot of times too.
So we can just help connect them, show them how, just come be the fly on the wall. That's all I ask. Come give
That's
it a chance. There's a lot of different ways to heal, and the biggest one is community. The biggest one is just come in and you'll find a brother or a sister that you can connect with and share a story with, whether it be you were in the Navy and in Taiwan, or in the Army in Korea, or the Marines in Japan, or you spent some time in the sandbox. Those are things that only another veteran can talk about. Your experiences at AIT, those experiences in basic training, not even the trauma, just that brotherhood and that camaraderie, and talking the stories about getting in a cab ride and like just barely getting on to post in a foreign country in the blink of an eye. Like everybody's got that story, and they're fun to share, and nobody else is going to get those stories. When you go tell them with the normal folk, your friends and family, they're kind of like, but you tell them with another veteran, like, oh yeah, listen to this one. So, and then, so there, it's what it's really about is that community. And if you're not open to the plant medicine, or you're worried about being too high, there's CBDs, there's other types of medicines to make sure you're not overly psychedelically wilded out. Even with the psychedelic experiences, when we're getting into mushrooms and we're talking about microdosing mushrooms, real quick, just for your audiences that might be interested, you're not going to be hallucinating. We're not trying to get to that level all the time. There's a lot of healing that can be done with a dose that's so low. The only thing you realize is that you're not as reactive that day, and you're a little bit more appreciative of life, and you're feeling a little bit more love in your heart. And when we can love ourselves and love our brothers and sisters, we're going to reduce that number. And that number's staggering. I'm going to share one more quick thing with your audience. About 7,000 United States service members lost their lives in 2 decades of war. Overseas, lost their lives. And that same 2 decades, I'm going to be a little bit low, 30,000, I think it's closer to 32. 30,000 veterans took their lives at home. This crisis is real, and it's not just in the veteran community. We all know somebody who's suffering from mental health. Yeah. So be the supporter for those people. If you're a veteran, reach out. What you need is community. What you need is support. You might need some medicines from the doctor, but what we really need is community engagement, and that's what we're trying to be here for you, as that safe place. We're tired of seeing veterans lose their life and sending up, the Silver Star at a VA hospital because they've been prescribed SSRIs and benzodiazepines and they weren't heard. Really what we need communication and support from one another. So we're here for you guys that are struggling in rural areas. That's why we are a virtual nonprofit. We don't have a brick and mortar. We use this wonderful internet. Everybody has a phone now. We're able to engage in different ways. And we're trying to come on the road to you. That takes money, that takes support from our non-veteran community. So all the little things, all the different companies, I don't want to shout out a bunch of different things on your podcast, but there's a lot of different moving pieces that are helping us bring the resources we want out on the road to engage veterans, not just online, but in person. So in 2026, look for us coming to you. If you want us to come to you, get in these groups, get active in the Discords, get active in the Facebook groups, because if you're active in the groups, we're then able to show our donors and sponsors the activity we do actually have. With over 10,000 members in our organization right now, signed up in different facets, be that community supporters or veterans. It's not all veterans. You can join our community if you're not a veteran on that website too. Absolutely. You'll be a non-veteran supporter. Those email lists are huge. Even if you don't check the email in regularly, when we show our donors and we go build grant money and we build our programs out, every little bit of support helps. So I just want to thank anybody that's willing to go out and take their time and sign up for any of that stuff. And I appreciate you. And I want to high five you all when I see you at the DGC or any of these events out on the road, the NECANs, the Canacons. We'll be at them, cannabis festivals across the country. We're trying to get to them all. So we hope to see you out on the road.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much for your time and your commitment and your effort and your service. Dude, this is Great. I'm so glad to hear about the push, and everybody watching too. Guys, take 5 minutes today, take 5 minutes tomorrow, take 5 minutes as you're replaying this. Go to the website, sign up for that list, get on the email list. Like you said, even if you don't check it, please do check it, because there's probably some cool opportunities. Maybe share it. This is also something that I say a lot of times too, is like, this information may not benefit me, but I'm damn sure I know someone it can. So just by being aware yourself of opportunities, maybe, a bud and breakfast, maybe that's something that person needs. And hey, there's a one-off in your town or a town near you. Sign up to the newsletter. Yeah, that stuff helps you guys. I mean, we're all, all those YouTube people, we all know it's like subscribers. That helps us get out there. So yeah, sign up for the newsletter, guys. Links in the chat. Link is down in the show notes too. Damn, man, I really appreciate what you do personally, and I appreciate what the group is doing as well, because it's freaking needed, man. 30,000, 32,000 is a stupid number. We have an organization here in Washington that I like to support. It's called 22 Too Many. 22 people or 22 soldiers, veterans per day. That's completely unacceptable. So yeah, just like legalization, guys, we got a lot of work to do. It's not over, so don't rest yet. More to go, more to come. And I want to give you one last chance here to just shout out anybody, anything, any links that you want. I want to remind people too, again, guys, we're all setting this up for September 5th. We're going to be doing a big seed auction. Let me pull up the page so you know what it looks like for YouTube. It is Jesus Plants, goes by Jim. That is what you're looking for when you're going to go subscribe to his channel, or September 5th. Again, it's the first Friday of every month, guys. Always raising for good causes. And we are doing BVN on September 5th. So that's the YouTube page you guys are looking for. I will see you guys there. And they're completely off topic. There were a couple excellent just comments related to me. I'm, whatever. I got to put them up. So Grumpy Toad, this made me chuckle in the background. He says, when Chuck Norris saw Chad's hair, he shaved his head. Flex right there. That's a flex, bro. So that made me laugh. You got to love Chad. Again, this is why community is so rad, man. We make each other smile. We make each other laugh. That's what we're here for. And Britton Braille, when my phone rang, right shortly after my phone rang, he said, it was me. Answer, I'm calling to hair tips. So.
Yeah, I need some, Chad.
Mine
ran away.
Oh shit, man. That's these again, man. Guys, community goes such a long way. I always say smile at a stranger. You never know the effect it's gonna have. And please share the information about Operation 1620, about the Balanced Veterans Network. And one more time to take it home, any place that they can find you or you want them to head to.
We're on all the social medias. Like you said, it's linked below. It's Bullside Chats with Balanced Veterans on YouTube. We also have the Balanced Veterans page. The Bullside Chats is the cannabis side. And we all know why we separated it. So if one gets shut down, the other does not. But we're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn, all the major social medias. We're putting on some events. We'll be at NECAN in New Jersey, and we'll be at NECAN in Rochester, New York in September. Come out and see us. We'll have some seeds available for veterans for sure. We'll have seeds for everybody from some of our sponsors. Hit us up there. October 12th, we're doing an event called Picking on the Pond in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. It's at a VFW, and it's our first music event fundraiser. If you're into bluegrass music, it's going to be a day of bluegrass music and community. We've got a handful of local acts to put on all afternoon. I think our tickets are $25. That is on, I'm brain farting on the name of the ticket vendor, one of the major ticket places where you get all your tickets on usually. Check it out. We'll have it'll all be on the social medias, though. All that information is connected there. So just check us out. Veteran or not, we need your support. We need your likes. We need your shares. And thank you all. We're all growers, and we all love this plant, and it's all touched us in one way, shape, or form. And that's really our goal, is to connect veterans with these resources. And make the connection with this plant that we all know and love, and bring this community that I found a long, long time ago to show it to the veterans, because we know how awesome it is. Like you said, it's not just a bunch of people doing drugs. Like there's a lot of healing going on in these places. So it's real. It really is. Thank you, Chad. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today, man. I see all these things popping up in the bottom. Thank you all.
Yeah, much love. Chat is absolutely here to support. They're here for it. And I just wanted to pull one more comment. Where was it? They were having a problem. And again, you guys are awesome. There it is. You guys are awesome for already heading over to the website. There is a little bit of site maintenance this weekend. So yeah, if it's this weekend or maybe even the beginning of next week, just check back, because they're updating, they're improving. And again, this is where a lot of the donations and the effort go, guys. Got to be there. Got to have the information. They're getting it out. So, dude, CJ, you freaking rock, man. I appreciate your time very much. So, and Terry, if Terry's out there listening, and everybody involved with the organization too. But Terry, man, thank you for coming up to me. Thank you for having the awesome conversation at the Dude Grows Cup. Always going to remember that. Always going to remember you guys. And I'm looking forward to September 5th when we get to raise some funds. So,
For
much
sure.
much love. All right, everybody, guys, go out, get outside, play some disc golf, enjoy yourself, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Fuck you, Westport!